Okay, I'm filming.
Okay.
Okay.
How much and what type of education did you receive?
I have a Bachelor of Science degree in Natural Resources, and I focused on ecosystems and then did a minor in environmental science. And then I did a master's degree in fisheries and wildlife science. And my research project was on nutria, which is actually a non native species. It tends to be invasive and cause problems. So, yeah.
How much and what type of work experience do you have?
Wow. I'm old, so I have a lot of work experience. The interesting thing is that this is my second career. I have about 20 years of experience in human resources and personnel. I was in employee benefits and workers' compensation. And then when we moved here to North Carolina in 1996, I decided to go back to school and do something else with my life. And so I went back to NC State and did another degree program. So I worked for 11, 12 years working for an engineering company doing consulting work. I did a lot of work with streams and wetlands and wildlife habitat, and then decided that wanted to do something more conservation related. And so we had an opportunity to come work for the commission. And so my particular work here is for a statewide conservation program called the Wildlife Action Plan. And so we have a statewide um, planning document that looks at all the wildlife in the state and their habitats, and tries to help direct where the most important things are. When you have limited resources, so limited number of people, limited number of dollars, and a limited number of sites that you can work on, then you have to start deciding, prioritizing what are the most important things. And that's what we do with our Wildlife Action Plan.
What do you like and dislike about your job?
The fact I love my job. This is my dream job. I like the fact that I feel like I'm working positively toward conserving things that are really important that we all kind of take for granted because they're in the background. And then the thing that I probably don't like, I heard somebody say it today, conserving species one meeting at a time. You know, the fact that you do have to have meetings and you do have to work in an office, and if you could work outside all the time and work directly with the animals and the wildlife, that would be more fun.
Have you seen a relationship between the amount of stress and the increase in your salary over the years?
Stress and salary. Being a state employee, your salary tends to stay pretty much the same every year. We don't get raises very often. Not like when I worked for the engineering company, I could count on some really nice raises every year. Um, but the stress of that job was substantially higher for me because I was being paid to do what my client wanted. And I always thought it was ironic to go out and look at, oh, there's this beautiful wetland or this great stream that's in a natural condition, but I'm doing this job because somebody wanted to build something, and so it was going to forever change it. And there's a lot of irony in that. Um, Stress for my job now, it's good stress. It's the stress of I need to make a deadline. So I need to be working, to achieve something and make a deadline. So that's, there's good stress in your life.
How many hours do you usually work in a week?
40 hours, although I had a deadline recently with my plan. It was a non negotiable federal deadline. And so I was working longer hours in the evening and then over the weekend, but that was very limited. So it's mostly 40 hours.
Do you have to travel a lot, and if so, how much work and what kinds of how much and to what kinds of places? Is traveling a benefit or an added stress?
I do get a chance to travel, and it's usually related to meetings, ones I need to attend and ones that I hold. I am planning in the spring to hold a set of regional meetings statewide. So what I'll do, and I did this before, I did this a couple of years ago, where I set a meeting up at a location that I know a lot of people can access so that they don't have to travel to Raleigh. And then I go and I'm meeting with them to talk to them about our conservation plan and the type of work that needs to be done, the species that we have concerns for. Sometimes I'm going to meet with people about their projects. Um, I think, and I've actually been using virtual meetings a lot. I go online. I have a meeting room. Everybody can log in. We're on either a conference call or voice over internet protocol, um, or Skype or something, and we, bring our documents up that we're talking about, or make notes about things that we're talking about, or if we got an agenda we're putting together. So we've made a lot of use of virtual meetings. Travel's great as long as it's only like a day or two. But if you have to, I used to have to travel week after week, and I'd be gone. I had a big project back in 2008. We were from April to August, almost every single week we were out of town, and that's hard. That's stressful. It's not good for your digestive system either, because when you're traveling, you're eating out, and so you tend to eat less healthy meals than what you can fix at home. So, but for travel, your expenses are paid or reimbursed depending on how it goes. But yeah, travel's okay. I mean, I guess if you want frequent or traveler miles, I know some people that get benefits out of that and can use those. But yeah.
What would you do differently and the same with regards to your career?
I would have started much younger. Uh, I did a business degree my first time around, which is why I was in HR. Um, at that time, I didn't even know this kind of a job existed, and maybe it didn't. That I graduated from high school in 1975, and so this type of job probably really didn't exist. And it wasn't until I learned later. I was actually working for an engineering company up in near Washington D.C., and there were people doing biology jobs, and I was just entranced with, fascinated with what they were doing. And so I had to ask, how do you get a job like that? And so that was why when we moved here, I went back to school and did the special classes and another degree. By the time you're old enough to go to school, there'll be jobs that you haven't even dreamed of yet. There's a lot with genetics that's going on and DNA analysis. We're now, as an agency in our state, plus other state agencies and other federal agencies, are looking at the techniques for collecting DNA and understanding what that means to a species. Through DNA analysis, what we thought was one species, we now know is two. Or in some cases have found what we thought were two, there's really only one, but because it's in different locations, those locations influence what it looks like. So DNA analysis is going to be huge coming up on the horizon, and who knows what else is going to happen. I mean, as the landscape changes, it's going to dictate the things that happen. So I think you're in a great opportunity to watch what's happening with technology and science and emerging issues that happen, and figuring out how to make those things work for us and wildlife. But that's the one thing I wish I had started earlier in the career that I'm in now. So.
That's the last question?
Yep.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.